All right, we are back with Coach D. Faircloth, having a good time here in studio. We've talked about some of the Vidalia players, but I think people will be interested to hear about some of the opposing players and some of the opposing teams over the years. Why don't you talk about some of the best players? Let's start there. Some of the best players that you can remember going against it over the years.
I remember back in '73 when we had our old scoreless squad, we played St. Louis. They had a big running back named Thad Minaldi. Well, Thad Minaldi went on to LSU. He was a star down there, and he was tough. He broke our scoreless streak by the third play of the game. Of course, in defense of my kids, there was about 4 holding penalties on that play that they never called. I mean, when you grab a linebacker and pull him down to the ground, I mean, that's kind of called holding. But he scored a touchdown, went on and had a great career. Probably one of the toughest guys I ever played against was Booger McFarland, who played at Winsboro. And
you told me before we started recording he owes you some money, huh?
Yeah, Booger owes me money because all his highlight films that got him to LSU and Tampa Bay was him playing against the Vidalia Vikings and killing us. You know, he was an outstanding player.
And he was Winsboro, right?
Yeah, he's at Winsboro.
Yeah.
And we played Booger in the regular season. We beat him. And we ended up having to play him second round of playoff up there. And I told my kids, do not talk to any reporters that come out here to practice because I didn't want any bulletin board material. And sure enough, one of them reporters showed up and asked one of my kids, y'all beat Booger before, what are you going to do to him this time? He says, we handled Booger before, we're going to handle him again. That paper was in Winsboro before I got home to eat supper. And Booger came out, he was fired up to the hilt.
You want to name any names on who did it?
No.
So but, he got Booger fired up.
Oh, I mean, I said, of all things to get Booger going like that, jeez.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of good players.
What did he tell you that you told me that he'd come over to the sideline? Well,
that was an interesting story. He'd come over the sideline the whole ball game. Coach, run my way. Well, we ran an off-tackle play with our fullback, who was Brian Bradford. He was a hard hitter, too.
Yeah, he's a good guy,
Bradford went to Louisiana Tech and started for them for 3 years. But he carried the ball off tackle. Well, Booger slid down the line of scrimmage, met him in the hole, and that was the hardest lick I've ever heard on a football field. It would sound like a cannon going off when they hit. I mean, it was a heck of a hit right there in front of us. And I said, let me go get Bradford. I know he's dead. But Bradford jumped up and jogged back to the huddle like nothing happened. Booger staggered around out there on the field going, woo, woo. And he came back and said, y'all got me on that one. That may have been one of the hardest hits Booger ever had.
Yeah. Wow, that's 2 pretty big boys hitting.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. But Bradford's the type of kid, he'd hit you, knock your socks off, lay you out, and then he'd reach down there and pick you up. Come on, you did good, man.
Apologize.
I had to tell him, I said, quit pulling him up off the ground. He may have a broken neck. And you pulling him off the ground. I said, geez. But it was, you know, I had great kids. Another one, he was awesome. Awesome. Played at Fairdy. He was one of the toughest nose guards ever. And he killed us too. He went on and played at Tech when they won the national championship. What was that young's name? See, I got dementia. And Walter Johnson. That's my one of the best players I ever played against. Walter Johnson. He caused me headache. He played at Fairdy. Walter Johnson. I don't know how I forget it. I probably suppressed the memory.
You tucked it back away.
Oh, God. Oh, God. He was awesome.
What years was that?
It was 1980-something. I can't remember.
Okay.
But
somebody will put it in the comments after they watch this. Somebody will write it down.
He was awesome. In fact, when he played guard, he pulled, he cleaned us out. And then when he got on defense, we double-teamed him and we couldn't stop him. He's still making tackles. And he coached against me later on at Faraday. He's still running around over there.
What were some of the toughest teams that you played against?
Well, West St. John.
You think that's probably the toughest one? That's hard to beat that.
That was hard to beat with those kids. They went on one state championship. And probably Winfield had some tremendous teams. And they had a backfield where all three of them went to LSU.
Wow.
Two of the guys, Chapman and Dale, went on to play in the NFL, you know. So they were awesome. But we held our own against them. But there have been a lot about Haynesville always had good ball clubs, and Spring Hill, Jonesboro Hodge. I remember calling in Haynesville because nobody would play us. And he said, Coach, you're the first ones that ever called us for a ball game. I said, well, maybe I got the wrong number. And they were something else, you know. Haynesville, one of the top teams ever in North Louisiana.
Yeah, they've got so many championships.
Oh, God. I mean, when we played them, my kids drove up at the stadium and they had all their state championship teams on the side of the stadium.
Yeah.
And they was all, you know, mouths open and stuff, so it was tough.
What would you say your toughest environment? Maybe it was a playoff game or whatever. Do you remember kind of going into any environments and just being like, oh, crap?
Oh, a lot of them. Jeez, a lot of places. I remember we used to go up to Lake Providence and played there, and their lights were so dim you couldn't see your hand out in front. You had to wave it, see if you could see it. And
not a lot of passing that night, huh?
No, but I remember the kids walking in and they said, Coach, what's those holes in the windows? I said, bullet holes. They went, oh, Lord. You know, and Richwood was a tough place to play. And, McCall was a tough place to play. Yeah, I'll always remember those places.
I want to say that Adam Probst was telling me a story about maybe, did y'all go to South Cameron or somewhere?
South Cameron, oh, geez.
I remember him saying, man, it was kind of scary to get off the bus.
Well, they had Nutra hanging from the goalpost. Dead Nutra. That's kind of like a voodoo. And
he said, man, we got there early and I think everybody in town was drunk in the parking lot yelling at us.
Yeah, I mean, it was a unique place to play. It was right down on the coast, you know.
Yeah.
The Gulf was just a mile away. And the wind was blowing so hard that I think Adam was my punter. He punted one, ball went behind him. The wind was going so hard. I said, oh, jeez. It was something else, but we've had some tough places to play.
And speaking of Adam's buddy Ryan, didn't he pull a kick on you one time that he told you he had it?
Ryan's one of the toughest kids I ever had. He was blocking on a punt over against Jesuit out of Shreveport, and he laid out three guys blocking on that punt. Laid them out. I mean, they had to cart them off. And so we tried an onside kick one night. And I said, Ryan, can you onside kick? He said, I got this, Coach. He went up there and stumbled and kicked the ball, and it went 2 feet off the tee. And he fell over the tee. Coach Highpire says, that's embarrassing. But Ryan, he was a heck of a ball player. Heck of a player.
Yeah, just got to get him going in the right direction, huh?
Yeah. He was a lot of fun, too. He was a lot of fun, Coach.
One more question before we take a break. What was your toughest ending to a season that kind of your toughest loss at the end of a season?
Oh, gosh, there's a lot of those.
Did you have any heartbreakers that you were like,
oh,
man?
A lot of them. I had a lot of heartbreakers I coached for 47 years at Vidalia and had 3 to that at Northeast. So that's 50 years of coaching. And we've had some. I had a game up at Delhi where we had over 600 yards of offense, but we had 8 touchdowns called back by the same official. The same official threw a flag every time we scored. And that was a heartbreaking loss because you got to win those, you know.
Yeah.
But it was, I've had some tough ones, and it's hard to get over them.
Yeah.
It takes you weeks to get over a loss, so it's something else. But I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
That's part of it, ain't it?
It was a great ride.
That's right. That's part of it.
And so proud of all our kids and my coaches.
You had a great coaching staff.
Oh, I had a great coaching staff. Tommy Lanus played at Tech with Terry Bradshaw. Coach Hoppire, my first quarterback, he had one of the best baseball coaches in the state, and he's an outstanding football coach too. And had Terry Brown help me, and Coach Fred Marsalis. He was a staple. One of my assistants, Coach Ken Simmons, the basketball coach at one state. He's an outstanding coach. And so I was fortunate, and most of them stayed with me for 25 years, so there was no big turnover in coaches.
Yeah, you had some good kids and some good coaches over the years.
I had great kids and I had great coaches. And we had great fans in Vidalia. The parents were tremendous.
That's right.
They was always helping us out. And we were a self-sustained program. In other words, we bought everything for the kids, from their shoes to their helmets, everything. They paid no money.
Yeah.
A lot of schools don't do that nowadays. They make you buy your helmets, your pads, what have you. We bit the bullet. And
always made it work, didn't you?
I always made them work.
And you spent many hours in that field house washing clothes and
all the
getting
time.
it ready. That's right.
All the time. I mean, I felt like my kids. I wanted them clean and dry so that they perform the next day. And one of the things that we did away with two-a-days. Everybody in those days did two-a-days. Practice in the morning, practice in the evening. I said, this is tough because your morning workouts, dew's on the ground, your feet are soaking wet, your blisters develop, your balls are soaking wet, and then you come back later for another. So I went to a night practice. I was the first one to do that. Went to night practice. We practiced from 6 to 10, but about an hour of that was water breaks. That was one of the things. I said, I get more out of my kids after dark than I do it.
I'm sure they appreciate that in the Louisiana heat, don't they?
At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 200 degrees.
Well, let's take one more quick break to recognize our partners, and then whenever we come back, we'll finish with we'll talk a little bit about coaching, how it changed over the years. We'll touch on the Vidalia Faraday rivalry, and then we'll just kind of look back one more time overall.
Welcome to your new hospital, Trinity Medical. Located in Faraday, Trinity Medical is the only acute care facility in the Tri-Parish area. Here, you'll find an active pursuit of holistic health, a strong, honest group of clinicians, and a consciousness of others that transcends the 80,000 square feet committed to you and your loved ones. Trinity Medical. People you know, caring for people you love.
If you like what we're doing here at Miss Lou Champion Spotlight, make sure to like, follow, share on Facebook and Instagram, and visit our website, MissLouChampions.com. It costs you nothing, and it helps us to continue to shine the spotlight on awesome people right here in our community. All right, we're back for the last segment with Coach D. Faircloth. I'm having a good time, Coach.
Well, I'm glad you are.
You knew we were going to have a good time, didn't you? Let's talk about how, just briefly, how did coaching change over the years from when you started till your last years of coaching?
Coaching has really changed over the years. I was old school, treat them tough, run their tail off, make them do right, punish them when they broke the rules. And I think that's gone by the wayside nowadays with the coaching profession. I think a lot of the coaches nowadays want to look pretty on Friday, not put in the work during the rest of the week. But it's coaching is a 24-hour job. 365 days a year. I mean, you get no days off. And so that's where it's changed. I remember when I in high school, we didn't lift weights. You know, weights, what is that? And then now that's all you can do. You got to lift your weights now or you're not going to be successful.
Yeah.
But it's changed, and I know my nephew, that defensive coordinator at Gina, told me the other day, said, you know, if you was back in coaching these days, said they'd be done fired you at 8 different schools.
You're too tough, huh?
Yeah, he said you've been fired at 8 different schools, and it's you got discipline. You got to have discipline. You got to be tough love with your kids, and I think that's kind of gone out the way.
You know, but I don't hear any of the kids from those generations that were coached like that. I don't hear any of them complaining about it. They all look back and they're all grateful for that. And I'm kind of sad that is going by the wayside, because I feel like kids these days, even though they may not want it in that moment, they'll appreciate it down the road.
Kids want discipline. They may tell you different, but they won't be held accountable. I remember saying one year, I said, when the coaches disappear off this earth, tumbleweeds going to roll across Main Street. I said, it'll be all over then. That's our last line of discipline.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so it's the kids have changed too. Some of my kids these last couple of years said, Coach, how would we fare against your old teams? I said, oh, they beat the snot out of you guys. I said, geez, they as tough as all get out, you know, because that's the way they were raised in those days. Now it's so easy.
Yeah.
So easy. Mm-hmm. You get up in an air-conditioned house, you get in an air-conditioned car, you go to an air-conditioned place.
We're all softer now, aren't we?
Yeah. I mean, I go outside and mow the yard and I about pass out. Used to, I could go all day long.
That's right.
But times have changed.
Yeah.
Kids are bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been. But there's something missing. There's something missing in a lot of them.
Yeah. Why don't we talk what the Faraday-Vidalia rivalry means to the Miss Lou and has meant over the years to not only the schools, but so many citizens and the people who are just so proud of it.
Oh, it's you know, you have Michigan, Ohio State. Well, the second one is Faraday and Vidalia. They second in that list. But it's I know whenever we beat Faraday, the Faraday coach would say, Coach, you just got me fired. So, you know, that's the way they felt, you know, and it was a tough rivalry. Jeez. And probably one of the toughest of the year when I came back. I retired in 2009 because I had cancer. And then I got into remission with that. And I came back 4 years later to help Coach Hancock. I coached his defense. And then when he left, they said, Coach, apply for the job. And I did. I kind of had the inside track because most of the guys on the committee, I had coached them.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had the inside track on that job. Uh-huh. But we came back and had 2 real good years, 17 and 18. But that Faraday game in 2017, we had lost like maybe 6 in a row to them. The last 4, we'd been outscored like 180-6. So when we played Faraday, it's kind of like David and Goliath, and we were the ones that had the rocks. They were Goliath. And nobody gave us a chance to beat Faraday in Faraday that year because they had Rosenthal and the other kid that went to 2 LSU signees on that ball club. They were awesome. They should have won the state that year. But we went over there, and I said, Coach Norris, my offensive coordinator, threw a halfback pass. We went down and scored. And I told Rob, who was my defensive coach, my nephew, I said, we'll see if we're ready on this first play when Faraday has the ball. Faraday went back to pass, and he got hit by 4 people at the same time. And I said, I think these kids are ready to play tonight. And we went into halftime leading 20-0.
Wow.
And Faraday fans, they had to have medical response teams go through the stands. Because, I mean, But they didn't have a chance in the world playing these people. And we ended up beating them. And I'd never seen a bunch of kids so happy.
Yeah.
They came in and went in the dressing room. They was dancing on top of the lockers, and I let them go.
That's right.
I said, you fall out and break your leg, you ain't going to play next week. But, that was a great win.
That was such a David and Goliath win for you that I remember. I can't remember where I was that night, but I couldn't make the game, and I was pulling up this little app on my phone that would show the high school scores, and I said, I better check on this score, and I got on there, and it was like 20-0, and I said, it's 20-0, and then I said, Vidalia's winning. And then I kept looking, and I was like, I thought something was wrong with the app because I was like, are we beating Faraday 20? And then I kept looking at the score, and I was like, what is going on over there? These kids are, they're shocking the world.
They were playing. Hard. And a bunch of coaches called me that next week and said, Coach, that's the biggest upset in the whole state of Louisiana in all classes. He said, how in the world did you do that? I said, we was lucky. We was just lucky. But it was, that's quite a rivalry. And, they'd slip over on our campus and put their flag on our flag post. It was a tough rivalry.
Well, let's talk about that retirement just a little bit. That, you came back as the head, you were gone, and then you came back for what, 2 years? And then they sort of pulled the carpet out from under us, I guess.
After I got the job, and we had two good ball clubs. Both of them went a long way in the playoffs.
You were doing a great job when you came back.
And I'd still be there today, probably, if that hadn't happened. But what it was, there were 4 coaches in the state that just coached football. They had retired, and they could coach football. They didn't have to come teach school. They wasn't on the faculty, basically. Mm-hmm. So there was a mess up down south, so the association, being what they are, they said, we'll just throw all 4 of them out. So they informed me that I couldn't coach anymore because of that rule. And a little bit later on, as the season got going, they rescinded the rule and sent word, you can coach again. But I never did because my nephew had become the head coach there every day, so I wasn't going to go in there and upset him. But I'd probably still be coaching because I miss it like all get out.
Do you miss it?
The kids, that's what you miss in coaching, is your kids. I had a great time. I messed with all of them just like I used to mess with you. Yeah. And
look, you got to tell the story real quick before we leave. What you did to me at graduation. You want to tell it, or you want me to tell it?
No, there you were. You were a mountain of a man.
What that way about 96
in those
pounds?
days. In fact, I used to ask you if you had one stripe on your pajamas because you were so thin. So you said something one day about the weightlifting and everything. I said, I'm going to get you your own set of weights. So I went in and found a coat hanger and straightened it out, and I put those 2 rolls of the toilet paper, on each end, taped them up, and that was your weight equipment. And when they was graduating, the practice for graduation, I sent it out there to the principal and say, tell Ronnie to get his weight equipment. It's in my way up here, and take it home. That was a good one. You was a good sport about it, though.
It was in front of 100 people. You got me too, because we've been going back and forth for all those years.
All them years.
I had no idea that they said, Ronnie, I need you to come up here, and in front of all 100 people we graduated with, I need you to get your weight set. I said, he got me on the way out.
That was Mr. Duck, wasn't it?
I think it was. I think it was. And I said, man, I never could beat you.
Oh, you did a pretty good job putting me back.
I remember I was telling Dustin before we started filming that I remember you telling everybody that I used to have to run around the shower to get wet.
I saw you running around in the pea shower trying to get wet. You had to run around in there.
Oh, goodness.
You was so heavily built in those days. Huh?
I know, and the women look at me now and they're probably like, he's so well put together and
Yeah,
just
I know.
a borderline supermodel material, and they don't realize.
I've heard a lot of them say that about you.
Just the drunk ones, I think. Well, let's wrap up. Let's talk about just what are you the most proud of? You know, if you look back, if you look back from today, from the first day you became a Viking, you always say it's a great day to be a Viking. What are you the most proud of over all the years?
That was a saying I had for years, and I told them that at the Faraday Pep Rally. That day we upset Faraday, and I walked up there and I said, I looked outside, the sun coming up, and I said, it's a great day to be a Viking. And you're playing against the number one team in the nation and the number one band in the nation. I said, you've got to be ready to go. But I was just proud of all my kids through the years, every one of them that laid it on the line for us, And that's what I'm so proud of.
Not so much the football, but just the young men.
The young men, that the respect they carried for other teams, playing them. And it was, that's probably my greatest thing, remembering my kids and their efforts they put forth to make a good football team. And that's why I got into the Hall of Fame, is because of those kids. So that's my proudest thing, and getting in the Hall of Fame, because not everybody makes that.
What year was that you got into
2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I stood up there to get that award, I just think the thought went back to all my kids.
Yeah, it's not an individual award.
No.
Is it? Yeah.
It's a team award. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
It's a team award, Vidalia.
And it's got that Vidalia Vikings right there on the trophy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's down there on that plaque in the All-Star room. So that's what makes it good.
Well, look, I appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us today.
Anytime.
I can say, as an old Viking and for all the Vikings past, now, and future, we appreciate everything that you've done for the school, for the football program, for the town of Vidalia, and just for you being you.
Well,
you've contributed greatly.
I never change.
That's right. So thank you for coming out. We want to thank all the viewers. We hope that you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, and hopefully you did, Coach. God bless everybody, and as always, have a champion day.